morning, day 268. We're going to talk about Romans chapter 14 today. And the geese are being really loud today. Can you hear them honking? It's getting ready to thunderstorm here. So we've got a mixture of clouds and whatnot. So I'm going to get through this so I can get back home and stay dry. Okay, Romans chapter 14. Y'all, I think as people, we need to, whether you're a believer or not, you believe in a higher power, the universe, spirit, like whatever. Chapter 14 is like really practical. Like as humans, we should post something like this or that says something similar as a reminder, like on our refrigerators everywhere. And then we would all get along better. This chapter, like if we could live by Romans chapter 14, we would all get along better. That's Paul's whole message. Like y'all would have love and harmony and peace. Like if you just stick to these concepts here. And I've put modern slang on it. I had a little fun today and I'm titling today, Mind Your Business. Mind your business. And that's what we need to do as humans. And boy, this is a message that yours truly needs to receive, because I can get on my moral high horse, or, I've just learned something about the brain and psychology or nutrition and fitness. And I like to go around and tell everybody what they should do now. Oh, man. Do you do that? I think that is the human condition. I know I'm not alone there. So, what does Paul say and his wise guidance? And how do we navigate? How do we navigate this? So here's what he says. You just worry about loving people. Well, loving God first. Remember, from chapter Romans 13, he's pulling a thread over and he's saying, if you can love, like truly love, receive it, let it pour out of you, because that's really how it works. When you actually receive it and believe it, that you have it, then it's a natural outpouring to others. So it comes here first and then out, and that fulfills all the other laws, like just by default. But just in case, or when we get caught in our humanness, he gives us a few other guide rails, or, guardrails, guiding points. I don't know. He says, look, if you have been given freedom in your own good conscience to eat this way, eat meat, and eat whatever you want, and drink whatever you want, great, bless you. But if you're in the company of somebody who is more sensitive and they don't have that kind of freedom, and let's say they only want to eat vegetables, food was a big thing for them back then. Actually, it is for us now. I know people that have turned their way of eating into religions. Then the one that has the greater freedom is supposed to be sensitive to the more sensitive one that doesn't have freedom. We are not to cause each other to stumble. That's loving, right? That goes back to the guiding principle of love. If I really love you, I'm going to be sensitive to your sensitivities and where you are in your journey of love and freedom, and what God says is okay for you. And this is what we do from the human perspective, though. It's like, come on. What do you mean you're not going to eat that steak or have that glass of wine? Come on. Lighten up. Like, you can have that. Because we have the freedom, we try to encourage and we do it the opposite way. And he's saying, no, don't do that. Like, you can do it in your own privacy or with other people that are in the same level of freedom as you. But when you're in the company of somebody else, you go with the lower, not the lower, that's not the right word, but those that don't have that experience. Like wherever the least free or the more sensitive people are, if you're in a group, that should be set the tone for everybody else, because we don't want to cause anybody to stumble. And those that are more free in their conscience and living another way, and this can go, so we can take this concept of eating and talk about what you wear, where you live, what's in your bank account, how you spend your money. All of those kind of daily decisions where a lot of us like to fret or say that, invite God into those decisions. I don't think he's really down in that level. Like those are decisions that we humans get to make. And as long as we're using love as our guiding principle, we're going to make the right decision. And so he's kind of cluing us. And just in case you don't fully understand that, let me tell you what that looks like. That you are going to be sensitive and you're not going to want to cause anybody to stumble, because we're not all in the same place in our journey of freedom and love and understanding of God's gifts and what that means for us personally. And we're not supposed to judge each other. Like, even if we think we're more free, we really might not be. We might be mistaken, even if our conscience is clear. But again, anyway, it's between us and God. And he uses the example of like a boss coming in. Let's say you're a business owner or even a household. Back then it was regular to have servants. So let's say you're in your house and you have your servants. You're responsible for your servants and what they can do and what they can't do. And you're not allowed to go into another house and interfere with that person and their servants. That's the analogy. And that's what we're doing when we try to influence each other to do something against their own conscience. It's like we're coming in and God, the analogy is that God is in each house, God is the master. And each person is the servant. So when we try to come in between, when we don't mind our business and we try to get in between somebody and God, that's not loving. That's causing somebody to stumble and question where they are. It's between them and God. Period. End of story. Because really, when you on the human level, in the human playing field, this is where we get into trouble with each other. And it goes on and on and on. We pass it down from generation to generation. My way is better than your way, and you need to get your act together, or you need to loosen up. You're too tight over there. My religion is better than your religion. My way is the only way. Christians do this too. And we're getting in each other's business, even trying to make nations follow one religion or another and claiming that, like, we're getting in God's business and we need to get out of it. And so that, again, we can bring all that energy back to you. As I'm starting to grasp this message and starting to try to put it into practice more, my energy is going through the roof. My level of like the weight of the world coming off of my shoulders. We all walk around literally like Atlas or little G gods, trying to get each other in alignment. And just by virtue of doing that, we are getting out of alignment. We are misbehaving by trying to go around and correct everybody else's behavior. This is, and me right now, I'll talk personally about how this message is really working in my life and how it's been a process and a journey, and there's been a lot of pain and suffering along the way, as I realized in my good conscience that drinking wine on a daily basis was not good for me. I was suffering physically, I was suffering mentally, I was not in good conscience about my own behavior. So I decided to stop. And that was hard. That was hard. Anybody that's developed a habit on top of an addictive behavior. Did you see that? There's a fly on my phone. Knows how hard that is. And when you're doing something that is that hard and you are struggling, but then you start to have some success, that little self-righteous finger wants to come out and start going, don't you know, this is bad for you. If it's bad for me, it's bad for everybody. And y'all need to stop. And there was, and my husband, he enjoys having his craft beers. Now, I can still have my opinion that I think it's not good for him because, I think I do know a thing or two, but it's not my place. It's not, even as his wife, it is not my place. That is between him and God. And I need to mind my business. And I'm just supposed to love and respect. That's the other word that was really coming to me today that I hadn't talked about until this moment, is respect. We're supposed to respect that relationship. Now, conversely though, I never asked him to not drink in front of me. That would have maybe been a fair thing to ask because it was hard to be next to it. It was causing me to stumble a little bit. But, that's neither here nor there. I decided not to do that because I really wanted it to be here's the irony. In my good conscience, I knew it was my problem and I wanted to do it for me and not make it about him or be dependent on him. And yet then I tried to afterwards, after I had had some success and was all puffed up in my pride, to go, okay, now you need to get your act together. I got my act together. Now you need to get your act together. And by the way, I have his permission to talk about this kind of stuff. So this was a big point of contention. Anybody who's really been in a maladaptive coping strategy, whether it's eating, drinking, exercise, spending, sex, like all the vices out there that are okay for some and okay even in certain amounts for some, and then those of us that end up taking it too far then get ourselves into trouble with it. And then we've got to be responsible for our own lives and our own behavior, our own conscience. And then some of us make the decision to do something about it, come out of the darkness and into the light and get back in good conscience with ourselves and with God, with our behavior, and get back into a healthier place. And then we climb up on our high horse. Have you done that? And those in various religions, Christianity does not have a corner on this market. We even do the same thing. And I think most of the world religions and philosophies have a message of love. Like, we all know, like, God's message is getting out to the world through various means. And I know those of us that read the Bible and Christians, we want to say, nope, you really, like it says it right here. You have to believe. But there are also other messages in there because we know not everybody has received a Bible or heard the name Jesus or all of this stuff. And how do they know? They have nature. They have the world. They have their minds. They have spirit. God can get his message out. And we need to stop going around crucifying everybody. And we crucify ourselves in the process. We die because that is not a message of love. We're not allowing people to be on their own journey and for them being responsible for their own relationship with God. And whatever God and however they understand it to be. Each person responsible for their own lives, their own conscience, their own behavior. We're off the hook. Like, this is good news. That's freedom. That is freedom. We're just free to love. We're just free to receive love, just to be a conduit and just do the best we can. That's like, we can't earn it. We can't help other people earn it. That's what we try to do when we go around getting in each other's business. We're saying, well, I don't have to earn it. I've received undeserved grace, but you need to get your act together. And this is how you do it, because this is the book that I read, and this is the message I got, and it's the only one, even though in the Bible it says it's not the only one. All right, I think that's enough for today. I feel like I can breathe deeper now. Like, I've had some weight lifted off of my chest of being responsible for other people. I need to be sensitive, so there is that caution there. And even within yourself, if you don't have a clear conscience, you need to default and do the behavior that you have a clear conscience about. Don't let confusion creep in, because that is not going to go anywhere good, because that's where you become divided and you're letting sin creep in. Oh, that rhymed. And that is not good. That causes an internal divide. That is where love, you block love even within. So if you're blocking it within and still trying to walk around giving it out, but you don't have it to give, then you start giving a false love, that you're back into the human love and you're self-deceiving. This is pretty deep stuff. It's good stuff. This is the good news. This is good news, y'all. This is good news. And I would love for y'alls, I'm in the South, to read Romans 13 and 14. I'm going to finish Romans tomorrow. I think I'm going to wrap up with 15 and 16 tomorrow, and see if y'all are picking up the same thing. And if you're not, that's okay too. Like, you're not ready for it yet. And you may not ever be. God may have a different message for you. Maybe I'm being freed at a different level. But you don't get to judge me for that. I mean, you can if you want, but my conscience is clear, because I'm going directly to the source and getting a message for me. Anyway, all right. Love you guys. Rise and shine. Bye.